Hello and good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this week's new episode of the Xbox Factor Podcast. I'm your host, Mr. BoomStick XL. And folks, we have an outstanding show for you today. We're talking about the Killer Instinct story that was written by Jez Corden regarding potential Activision-Blizzard characters coming into the rebooted franchise that should be seeing its 10-year anniversary update, hopefully sooner than later. Great news for anyone that is a Forza Horizon 5 fan. Well, it has crossed 34 million players. I mean, that's pretty ridiculous. We also are going to be talking about, folks, not so much the Spider-Man 2 controversy, because it's kind of water under the bridge. What we are going to be talking about is what you see in the headline titled, IGN tries deflecting Spider-Man 2 controversy by reminding the world, folks, and this is breaking news, that Bethesda's Elder Scrolls 6 is going to be Xbox exclusive. Oh my God. What are we going to do? They've only run that story about 5 times.
4 million times, bro.
I guess maybe the clicks are just a little low or a little down at IGN, and they figured, well, if there's controversy coming towards Sony, we need to be their Earth Defense Force and get up there and take those arrows. But we'll get into it. We're going to have fun with it. I might throw some more, snickety snacks in there for us to talk about, but Infinite Umbra, welcome back, brother. How you feeling?
Oh, boom. I'm good. I'm tired, but happy to be here with you two gentlemen, of course. Good morning, chat. Yeah, man. Speaking of Spider-Man and such, I have been playing it over the weekend and really enjoying it, honestly. It's not without its faults, of course, with the bugs and crashes. I've had about five crashes, I think. Yeah, I had 5 crashes.
I've had 3 where I would get caught in the midst of, I don't know if it was loading from the way I was swinging,
right?
And it would just kind of lock. And it would,
well, that's your fault, Boom.
Yes.
Learn how to swing, bro.
You know what it
right?
is also?
Learn how to swing. Okay?
You know whose fault it really is? The Xbox Series S, because it exists.
It's Phil's fault. It's Phil's fault. He
Phil's
personally.
fault. God damn you, Phil.
If you hadn't had the game near the Series S, it would have never closed on you. No, but seriously, yeah, about 5 of those, man. And I have seen a few glitches here and there. The funniest I've seen online, at least, was the Spider Cube. I was like, okay. So Spider Cube,
I saw that.
Spider Cube. Yeah, that one's funny to me. But no, there's a ton of crashes. But I had some people who, once we were reporting it, they go, no, that didn't happen. You bots just happen to all have these issues.
Well, you know what it is? The best is that you are, or we are as a community, absolutely looking for it. We're trying to break the game. And
that's why we spend our money. Yeah. That's why we spend our money. That's why I bought this $500 console and the Spider-Man console, and I bought the collector's edition because I'm hoping to find bugs.
Look at you.
My
$800 Look at you supporting PlayStation, and at the same time, you're working your magic on the inner circle to ruin them from within. Look at you.
That's it. There you go.
That's
all.
Had it not been for our own Xbox brethren, like J-Rock, for instance, shout out to J-Rock. I mean, what we
Gremlin himself, Master Gremlin himself. Yes, by the way.
Yes, would they have even known about the Cuban flag mix-up?
I know.
Yeah, I made mention of that to Mrs. Boom, who obviously, if you don't know, she's Puerto Rican through and through. South Bronx, Puerto Rican, right? And when I told her about it, she's like, man, she goes, it's not as bad as like when a Dominican person calls someone Puerto Rican and vice versa. That's like a big no-no in that culture. But to make the mistake, and look, folks, like I said, we're not going to really so much get into it. I'm glad you made mention of it. I told you, folks, and I'm not ashamed to say that I cry. I am telling you, that opening Miles Morales sequence with the mom in her apartment, I swear to God, made me put down the controller and cry like a freaking baby, because that reminded me of my abuela's house. I'm telling you, down to the stuff on the walls. But I don't know how to make that mistake.
That's why it's important. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's why it's such a big deal. and it needs to be made a big deal. Because I got to tell you, man, I think if it were different flags involved, this would be a big deal, right? If somebody was mistaking the American
Any
flag
flag, it
for
should be a big
somebody
deal.
else's
Culture
flag,
is important, man. I'm
yeah, but no,
sorry.
Insomniac's not even like they said. All right, yeah, my bad. We'll change it. Like what? Like that
Not
is
even like an
this is
official
not
apology.
that's not
Yeah.
it's not
Yeah.
a bug, dude. That's not a
Yeah.
glitch. That's
Yeah,
you
that's a
already
feature.
had it in there. Yeah, you went ahead and your play testers were walking past that flag a million times
Yeah.
and never thought to give two shits
Yeah.
that that's not the Puerto Rican flag.
I'm just wondering, trying to figure out how did that happen when the previous game
Negligence, bro.
right?
Somebody did it and nobody cared to check on it, right? So whoever did it in Miles Morales, when they set it up, is done great, beautiful, is there.
Yeah.
And then somebody changed it, obviously, because this stuff doesn't just happen by itself, right? And somebody changed it and nobody cared to double check. You know what I'm saying? Nobody cared to double check. But if there was a flag post in New York that was supposed to have the American flag and somebody put a Russian flag up there or some other flag, people would have been like, oh my God, why is this American flag is not there? Right. But it's disrespectful. Obviously, to people like me who's Puerto Rican, and I'm, a proud Puerto Rican.
Yep.
It's highly disrespectful, bro. It's disrespectful. We don't got a lot of superheroes that represent us,
Mm-hmm.
and having one that's not even full, we take the half and we've embraced it for ourselves. You know what I'm saying? Like, we take the half, and you're gonna take the one fucking half that we have.
Look, I
and
know
just
it's funny you say it, because I'm like you saying that, but he half of us too, brother.
but that's what I'm saying.
No,
but like,
I saw articles like, yeah, him and his family are Puerto Rican. I'm like, and
no, actually, yes.
I had to throw
the
it out
father's
there.
African American is a complete fact. Yes.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, we get half, and you take the fucking half that we have. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on, man. That's wild.
No, you know what? Like, at the end of the day, there are. I mean, look, all it did, honestly, is bring a bigger spotlight onto the game. Not only was the game, and again, some people are experiencing horrendous bugs, like Jesse Norris at Xbox Era. I think they gave it a 4.5 out of 10, if I'm not mistaken. I have to go and I have to double check that.
Oh no, I think they were joking. You're talking about.
Oh, was that a joke? Okay, because I only saw like Special Nick retweet something. I'm like, no, that guy, Jesse would never do that.
Yeah,
that's
they were
crazy.
Messing. They were
so listen, look, at the end of the day, I'm 12 hours in. I just hit level 15. I'm splitting time between both Peter and Miles, which I'm really enjoying doing. I think I have like 19 outfits unlocked between the both of them. I'm enjoying it. My only hiccups is I have hit a couple of invisible walls, especially when you get close to the buildings, you kind of clip. I have had a couple of console resets. I think it was two of them. I think I had. And look, I'm enjoying it. To me, it's an 8.5. It's an 8.5 out of 10. I think that's a very fair score, even with its bugs, because I really enjoyed Redfall, and I happily give Redfall an 8 to an 8.5, even with its bugs. So I'm being completely fair. Plus, I'm a Insomniac stan. I'm not going to front. I was very much looking forward to this game. Everyone knows that, and I'm not going to let the bugs just ruin it for me. I'm just enjoying my time with it. But you see, that's actually not the tip of the spear for the conversation that we're about to have, folks. And what we're opening the show with is what, of course, is on the title. Now, some people may say, "Hey, Boom, your console war in there, fella," and but I'm here to tell you that's not the fact the case, because I don't need the console war. All I need to do is watch the Twitters, if like the kids like to say, and watch IGN go to work, because they're console warring. So much so that even Hogue Law had a comment on one of their posts, and I'll read that verbatim, because Hogue, there's no hair on that man's tongue, right? He'll tell you like it is, and if you don't like it, well, you don't like it. I'll find that tweet in a hot second. But see, Money, I want to go to you first. And the title of the show, or at least one of the topics, is IGN tries deflecting Spider-Man 2 controversy by reminding us that The Elder Scrolls 6 is Xbox exclusive. Now, I get you do the story when it's found out, but it almost seems like it's a pointed suggestion that, hey, it's a banana in the tailpipe situation, in my opinion. The old Eddie Murphy, Beverly Hills Cop banana in the tailpipe situation. Hey, listen, don't look over here, look over there. And we didn't see IGN go into town on the bugs. In fact, I don't even think they even mentioned it in their review. And granted, we have heard from people like ACG, that, and even Digital Foundry was like, yeah, that day one patch kind of ruined everything. So a lot of reviews never had these bugs, which is pretty crazy. But I'm interested to get your opinion, C Money. Is IGN deflecting? Because we know that they are funded and invested by PlayStation. So obviously they're going to toe the freaking line. What are your thoughts, man?
So this is the thing. PlayStation. This is the first thing that comes to my mind. This whole thing with IGN constantly putting this out there. First of all, for me, I feel like at this point, it's not even like before when they were doing it, it was a way for them to create a stir to get people, riled up. Because they were like, oh man, this game is gonna be exclusive, so let me bitch about it. But now every time I see it, I'm just like, yeah, it is. Isn't that great? It's so amazing. Thank you so much for the reminder to let all the ponies know that they will not be playing this game. Thank you, IGN, for the reminder. It's great. But listen, they don't want to go ahead and disparage this game, Spider-Man. They obviously, not only did they go ahead and give it the 8 in the review, which honestly, I know that they really wanted to give it a 9. The only reason they didn't give it a 9 is because that kid on Beyond said that it better be a 9 or above, or they're gonna have
then they would have probably gotten a lot of flack. But I was actually quite
because then
surprised
everybody would have clipped it.
Yeah.
Yep, everybody would have clipped that kid saying that it better be a 9 or above, and we would have all said it. So they took the L on Spider-Man. They figure Spider-Man will survive. And they took the L on Spider-Man, gave it an 8, so that they can avoid that. But that's it, because after that, they put up editorials about how people, love the game. Like where was the editorials of, other people who loved Starfield or
that's a fantastic point, right? Yeah, where are those articles?
Where's those editorials? Oh no, there's no Xbox fan who was around IGN, right, went ahead and said, let me write something. No, just for Spider-Man, right? But no, it really is frustrating. And we know that they didn't acknowledge the bugs during it. Now again, you brought it up. ACG says that, man, this day 0 patch went ahead and ruined everything, right? And then John Linneman is like, yeah, it did. Okay, that's cool. Now let me ask you a question. If that's the case, right? Insomniac's not blind, right? We know very well that they're on Twitter, right? We're very well known that they have every understanding that these bugs are out there in the wild. Why not just roll it back? If the game before the patch was perfect, 9s, 10s, everything was great. And then all of a sudden they do this day 0 patch that's so critical, so needed, but it ruins the game for a lot of people to be experiencing these types of bugs. Why not roll it back? Why not just say, you know what, guys, something happened with that update. We're going to roll that update back. We're going to put it back to the regular patch or whatever it was before that patch, and then we'll fix it and come back with a new patch, right? Why not say something? Why not acknowledge it? Right?
That would be a bit of my question. Did they even address the fact that this was happening?
No.
Yeah.
No, and that's the problem, right? If what ACG and John Linneman say is true, I do not fathom a world where they're just going to let this continue, because that's what's happening. People are seeing all these bugs and having all these bugs. They're going to let this continue without saying, hey guys, we know some of you been having problems with the recent update that went out or the day one patch that went out, we're gonna, reset your console. It'll go ahead and do a new update, and we're just going to roll it back until we come out with another patch or whatever it is. But there's no mention of it. And you know why there's no mention of it? Does everybody? I think everybody in the chat, you probably all know why. You know why? Let me see. Because they're having a problem with people even buying the effing game. They don't have people buying that game. Spider-Man is the biggest IP that PlayStation currently has the privilege to host. And you got 2.5 million with pre-orders from God knows how long, from the collector's edition pre-orders, from the consoles that were from Spider-Man that come with the game as well.
Yeah, it's funny. King David actually made mention of that. We I talk with King on a regular basis, not over the phone, but through DM as well. And he actually had made mention of that. That he goes, dudes are forgetting that this has been on pre-order for months.
Dude, look,
Yeah,
hello, see that collector's
Absolutely.
edition console. People, I bought 2 copies of this game. Imagine how many people did that, right? And then you look at that 2.5 mil. What are they doing?
Yeah,
I'll tell you what they're doing. They're floundering. PlayStation is not at the levels that they want to be. Jim told us this a long time ago.
yep.
And the problem with the Twitter sphere, with the PlayStation heads that are there, and we're not talking about PlayStation fans, right? PlayStation fans are a whole different breed. I'm a PlayStation fan. Again, you don't spend this money for hate, right? But the PlayStation ponies who believe that this bubble is reaching out to the rest of the world, it's not. They don't have the type of hardcore gamers that are going to run out and play this game. The casual market will play. The problem is that the casual market probably doesn't even realize this game is out yet because they haven't turned on their PlayStation 5 in months. So one day they'll stumble upon their PlayStation 5, say, oh, you know what? Let me play something, turn it on and say, oh, look, Spider-Man's on the dashboard. And that's when they'll buy it. Is the game going to continue to sell? Yes. But 2.5 mil out of 50 million PlayStation 5s out there? That's embarrassing, bro. With the biggest IP? Bro, it couldn't even touch Starfield. Starfield is a no-name IP. So is Bethesda the company bigger than Starfield, bigger than Spider-Man, the brand? Is that what we're seeing when it comes to gaming? More people rather trust Bethesda and go play that game versus ponying up for Spider-Man.
I see
on
what you did there.
5.
I see what you did there.
You like that? You like
you're
that?
ponying up. I love it. I love it.
You like that, right? So yeah, that's all. I just I'm not surprised by them trying to do this misdirection with the bugs, right? Look at everybody's. The game's going to be Elder Scrolls 6 is going to be exclusive. I think the joke's on them, man. Because for us, I think we've been talking about it. Boom, you said by next year you don't think this is going to be the same story. Xbox is going to be on the other side of this. PlayStation is going to be on the opposite.
We're going to get into a story that broke yesterday. First of all, some really bad news came the way of one of PlayStation's most influential leaders. Either stepping down now. Again, if you believe what, oh my God, he was
David Jaffee.
Yeah, David. Thank you, sir. Thank you for the. If you believe what Jaffee had to say, she was fired. We're going to get into that story because big changes are coming, and it's like I said. PlayStation is in a tailspin, and I said this, Slim Money, to your point, and I'm going to stay on this. If I'm wrong, folks, I will be the first one to come on live and tell you that I got it wrong. But I don't think that I am. I am telling you, folks, the clock for the changing of the guard starts on November 10th. When November 10th releases, when Call of Duty releases on November 10th, the clock, or the doomsday clock, if you will, starts for PlayStation, because by the following November 10th, they will have lost their grip on the industry. I guarantee it. You can bookmark this. You could re-record it and show it to me a year from now. I am telling you, they are in trouble, because if their 24 is anything like their 23, and Microsoft's 24 is like their 23, they are going to be trounced, and no one is going to be buying the console unless they try to sell you Spider-Man again. Maybe.
I wouldn't put it past them to put out a remaster. Yeah, I wouldn't put it past them.
Nope.
Spider-Man 2 remaster.
Yeah. Extra content. You get a more Symbionite suit. I don't know. It has 6 arms
with their desperation, we're gonna get a demaster, and they'll announce it for PlayStation 4 next year.
Oh, maybe you'll get that. Or PC or something. Yeah. Listen. Look. At the end of the day, again, it's IGN doing what IGN does best, and that is defend PlayStation. It's fine. They are funded by PlayStation. We know that their parent company has ties with SIE, especially here in the United States region. They're just going to continue to do what they do. Don't pay them attention. I read a headline on Twitter. I don't click it, because why would I? I'm not going to be become a part of the problem. But I'm interested to get Umbra's hot take on this. Again, shockingly enough, they had to make mention that a Bethesda game, a well-known, beloved Bethesda game, that had to remind the world that this was going to be an Xbox exclusive. And, they do it on the heels of all of these issues, whether it be the cultural issue with the flag situation and no apology from Insomniac Games, or the bug issue. Now, whether you've had 100 bugs or, like myself, only a few, the fact that they exist is they exist. And shout out to the Black Viking who found a lot of them. Shout out to J-Rock who, does what gremlins do, man. They just let you know about yourself. And is it console warring? Sure. Is it fun? Absolutely. Do we get a lot of laughs out of it? Absolutely. But the truth of the matter is that they didn't break the game, right? They didn't go out of their way to break the game. The game came this way. They found these bugs. I don't know how they did it, where they got them from, but they're legit. What are your takes on the deflection aspect of IGN? Hey, don't look over here. Everything is good. But, oh, look at over Xbox. Those mother effers, they're going to steal another one from us.
The old smoke and mirrors trick, eh? Yeah. No, like, I'm used to that. I mean, I think all of us are here on the Xbox side of things. We used to IGN in particular highlighting or trying to highlight Xbox's negatives while ignoring Sony's. I mean, it happens all the time. I think this is why there's been such a blowback of trolling, if you will, from J-Rock and the Gremlins, because that we remember, all of us remember just how drastic these are Who's brothers and the media was against Starfield. We haven't forgot. GameSpot is repeatedly reposting, oh, we gave it a 7, and and IGN with old Dan Stapleton. Like, none of us have forgotten how the media has treated Xbox, even when Microsoft is doing well and right, and it's been a spectacular year. They try to find something to tear it down at some point. And and then we're left to debate about media bias, and then when we say it, it's like they're looking at us like we got 10 foil hats on, like our brother Everborn. But so it's been a bit of that. It's been a whole influx of that, and that's really the bigger issue. And this is why it's been such a dramatic anti, if you will, Spider-Man campaign from some of our brothers, and trolling back to give them, they want to get the get back. That's exactly what it is.
I call it a public service announcement. You know what I'm saying?
You can call it that
trolling.
Too. Yeah.
I think they're just letting everybody know what the media won't tell you.
That's
what I'm saying?
That
we need
is
people
true.
on the streets who willing to do the dirt to let us know what's real. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. Listen, I laugh at it. Mostly I see it and I just laugh it off, because again, it's not like they're just sitting here lying, and these things are happening. Like I said, I've had a few debates with people who would try to, it's funny, only you Xbots are having issues. I'm like, okay, so what about John Linneman and Digital Foundry? Several people in Digital Foundry are saying this. What about ACG? What about Matty Plays, who had the Spider Cube thing happen to him as well? None of them are Xbots, right? So yeah, this is, so it's a thing where, and I guess I get it to a degree because if we had our Hoove brothers doing some things with Starfield, we'd be looking like smighty fishy that you and your stable just happen to find this, but not us, even though I have 300 plus hours in it. No, but it is what it is. And again, that's why I laugh it off. Little light-hearted console warring like this doesn't bother me. It shouldn't bother anybody. If it's not personal stuff, get over it. And they're highlighting stuff that's really in the game. And this is a game which, and it's a major hitter for PlayStation, whereas we have major hitters for Xbox. The media will not ignore the bugs. So the media picks and chooses. Yep. I mean, it's happened before as well, like Star Wars, to be fair. Even Star Wars, some people ignored it. Some sites ignored those bugs and issues that it had and gave it still a 9 point whatever. You know what I mean? So it's the same situation
you know what,
here.
Now you just said that, right? Let's think about that for a second. Dude, you brought up a fucking phenomenal. Oh, goddamn. Sorry. You brought up a really phenomenal.
It's fine. We're all adults. It's after 12. It's fine.
All right. You brought up a phenomenal point about Star Wars, right? Star Wars had the same exact thing that happened to it as Spider-Man.
Yep.
During the
why I stopped playing it, guys.
During the review.
Why I stopped playing it, because I lost time playing 3 times. Over an hour, because there's no manual save in the game. And I was like, you know what? That's it.
Crazy.
I'm done.
That's crazy. So it's just funny because it happened with Star Wars. Nobody said anything about bugs, right? And then we all found out afterwards that there's crazy bugs in that game, right? And it took forever. I don't even know if they completely squashed them all.
Suspiciously, C-Money. Who had the marketing? Oh, that's right. It was PlayStation. I'm just saying.
So they said nothing, and we all found out the hard way after, right? But and they got 9s, right? And nobody went to change those scores, right? This is just 9s, right?
9s.
Okay.
Yep.
Now Spider-Man's out, same exact thing happens, and then the bugs come out. Do you think that this is a coincidence that 2 PlayStation marketed games are buggy as shit and no one brings it up until after the fact when they already have our money and we start seeing all this crap?
Yeah, to me, it's a little too coincidental that nobody reviewing this with all these people reviewing it out of 100 and whatever, 70 people, whatever. You all didn't
get a bug
such we came across. Yeah.
Right. VT Feeds says payola in all caps.
Payola. There wasn't a release for a patch that caused the day one patch caused all these bugs to pop out. Who releases a day one patch that creates massive amounts of bugs, dude? It's
I know did it. One of you Xbots did it. You snuck into Sony headquarters and you stuck the thumb drive in and said, "I'm gonna fix you, ponies," and that's what happened. It's look, I do want to just bring up a point because Richard Hogue, someone I incredibly respect. I love Rich. Rich is a great guy. This is a man that made a comeback after having a stroke, and he is just killing it. He's just the smartest guy in the room, and anytime he steps in, he put out a tweet that says this, folks. Okay, so you know what? For context, let me read to you what IGN wrote right after the bug situation wreaked its ugly head. And it's an opinion piece. And it's on PlayStation, right? This is what they had to say. Emotional ties to characters and relationships within their worlds are the core pillar of Sony's storytelling playbook, and Marvel's Spider-Man 2 is no exception, with Peter and Miles' personal journeys taking center stage. Now, I'm not going to front. I'm really enjoying the story. I like the banter between them. I do like the fact that Miles is going through some stuff. Peter is, he's Peter Parker. He's always really going through stuff. So I'm not going to front. I am enjoying the story. But I do want to bring up what Hogue had to say about that comment. And this is what he says, folks. He says, I truly believe it's articles like these that have resulted in the bloated, ponderous, momentum-free storytelling that practically defines PlayStation nowadays. And what he is referring to, if you don't know what ponderous means, it's slow and clumsy because of great weight and or dull and laborious. Just for clarification. Now, Sony has become very samey, and I'm here to tell you that even though I am not going to lie and say that I'm not having fun with Spider-Man 2, I haven't even gotten to the Venom part. I can't freaking wait because I'm a stand for Spider-Man.
You're gonna enjoy it.
And I'm gonna enjoy the H out of it. I'm not
you
even.
Are, trust me.
Yeah, I can't wait. I can't wait. But
I will enjoy it in the future when the bugs are done. And
the thing is this: we cannot.
Once my Puerto Rican flag is in the apartment,
yeah,
then just be a Cuban for a while. No, I'm just joking.
Yeah, I'm good.
But all jokes aside, though, I will say that when I say it's samey, I have taken 12 people to the hospital in a matter of 3 hours. I have put out fires like a firefighter in buildings 5 times. I've put out truck fires where these people are just trying to blow up the truck and destroy a city block. You have to take this tanker and shoot your webs. I've done that 6 times. The mission, the side mission stuff is very, very samey. Some of the other side missions, not so much. It's like I said, I'm a map guy, so I'm going to do them all. I'm going to try and platinum this game. I am enjoying it, and graphically, it's beautiful. But like I said,
it's not without its faults, and I'll
without its faults. Correct.
About that is, I think one of the points he was making is on the whole ponderous thing is that what Spider-Man does, what Insomniac does, and it's one thing I kind of wish they didn't do. I felt this way even with the other games, with Miles Morales especially. I think they really started hamming it up. Is they make, and I know it's a comic world. I get it. I grew up reading these books. Spider-Man is my favorite comic character of all time. This is why I had to play. It's a must play for me, right? It's less Insomniac, more because I love Spider-Man. Although Insomniac is great. However, they ham it up tremendously. And the fact that they forced you to play as MJ, I'm like, would you please?
Yeah, I haven't gotten to that part yet. I heard a lot of people really not liking that.
I'll say this. It's better than it's ever been. I just wish they stopped doing it because we didn't buy this to play as MJ. And now that she's an old cougar, apparently, I really don't want to play with her. She should be driving a school, like a little, van or something, and taking her kids to school. Or something. I don't know. But no, seriously, it's the ponderous, as they say, it's the moments in between. Now, it does do character building. I will give them that. It does build a character when you talk with, Harry or Miles.
And I like the interaction with Harry. To be honest with you, I am really enjoying my conversations, even the dumb bike riding. I enjoyed it for what it was.
Yeah, and I didn't mind it, right? But I definitely get it, and it's what I mean by they ham it up a bit, and then they do this forced kind of I don't want to say inclusion because I don't want to sound funny, but they do that. They make it more PC than it needs to be. It's like this just doesn't feel like real life at times, the way they try to make it real cheesy. It sounds like a Lifetime movie at times. So I just kind of wish they stopped that aspect, and it just reminds me a bit of what some of the other Sony games will do when they kind of just have you, let's talk and do this slow momentum killing moment here where we just talk like this instead of us getting back to what we came here for, which was action and such. So I do get it, but I think if they limited it a bit, it would be, I think, more welcomed overall. I haven't been overly bothered by it, but I have noticed it. What I would say too is what they did well is the set pieces. The set pieces in this game are spectacular. You're no pun intended.
Like even the opening one with Sandman is phenomenal.
Really solid.
Yeah.
And the further you get in, you're going to see some more crazy stuff. Believe me. So they did a good job there.
Question: what do you have any recollection of any game in recent years that focused on set pieces that didn't have a good set piece? Like, have there been bad set pieces? You know what I'm saying?
Well, certainly not in an Insomniac game. That is for sure. Well, they know how to push the envelope.
I feel like, those parts are like visually dope when you see them and shit like that. Like that's cool. But at the same time, they're also like the least like they're the most structured things, right?
Well, they're
Like
more movie-like than they
yeah, they
are
they
actual
basically are
gameplay.
giving you an
Yeah.
interactive cutscene, right?
Pretty much.
Which which is kind of like, is that impressive, or is it more impressive when I play Starfield and experience something that I just get to experience that feels so dope and looks so dope? I don't know. Like these set pieces
No,
for me,
you're asking
it's like quick
you're
time
asking
events.
you're asking a very
They are
powerful
quick time
question, and
events,
I think
largely.
the finite point to what you're saying, C Money, and I really want to drive this point home is those moment to moments in Starfield. You may be the only one experiencing them because the planets are randomized. So you might find something. We may come across the same derelict ship, right? But we might find two different different scenarios. One might be a creature on the ship, one might be pirates with the gravity going up and down, on and off. It's like it's why Starfield is generational. It is why Starfield is potentially going to be in the running for Game of the Year. As a matter of fact, if you're a fan of the Golden Joystick Awards, four now, because Diablo was nominated, but four Xbox first party titles were nominated. We will try to cover that on the back end of the show. I do want to move on to the topic that we made mention of, and that is of the some big problems are happening at PlayStation, folks. Now one of their now again, I who doesn't follow Post Up? If you're not following this man, you should definitely follow him. He's pretty sharp. He's sharp as a tack. And obviously he was one of the first people I saw tweet this. And Connie Booth of PlayStation. Now, if you don't know who she is the head of internal production for PlayStation. Now, under her tenure, which is 30 plus years at the company, he has been responsible for some of their biggest releases. Call of Duty, God of War, Horizon, Uncharted. She holds
Bandicoot. Yeah.
Yes, Crash Bandicoot.
All of them, Ghost of Tsushima, everything.
Ghost of Tsushima as well, thank you. So she is apparently no longer with Sony. Now, according to David Jaffee, and like I said, I keep Jaffee at arm's distance. I'm not a big fan of the cursing. I'm not a big fan of the berating that goes on. So I listen to him every now and again. I don't listen to him religiously because I don't like a lot of his content. I'm not being effed up. I'm just being honest. His kind of content is just not for me. And that's fine. He can do his thing, and he's very successful in what he does. It's just that it's not my bag, right? Well, I'm bringing him up because he had posted prior to the news coming out that he talked to several people within Sony that she was fired. That's what he said, and a lot of publications picked that up. Now, I don't know if there's been any confirmation of whether or not she's been fired, but there has been confirmation that her entire team have walked out. Now, I don't know if that means, hey, you fired our boss, F you, Sony, or they were fired as well. Again, no confirmation on that. But, gentlemen, this is the start. King for the last 2 weeks of the Iron Lords, which again, they've been just on fire. He has said, along with me, and I had a show on it, that Sony is burning from the inside. Here is another piece that proves that is whatever's going on within SIE is complete disarray, because you don't have someone of her position who has had so many W's under her belt get fired, and then her whole team says, you know what, we're out of here as well. I'll start first with Umber on this. Umber, what are your thoughts on Connie Booth being no longer with PlayStation? They're obviously out without Jim. Now, again, I have not heard this anywhere but one place, and I have not seen him tweeting, so I'm a little concerned. I'm wondering what is going to happen to Shuhei Yoshida. He is the last of the PlayStation, like OGs from like the PlayStation 3 and PlayStation 4 days. We haven't heard from him. Normally he tweets, right? Normally you see him out there. I'm following him. I haven't seen anything. I hope he's going to be okay, because that would be originally. I'm going to be honest with you. When Jaffee said some disrespectful news is about to come out, I thought it was him for sure. I'm like, because that to me would be unbelievable disrespect. Because look what happened to him. Sean Lane gets the axe, right? We don't hear from him for over a year. And Shuhei gets a demotion, in my opinion, to deal with the indies. And you didn't hear much from him at all, which I thought was disrespectful considering how much love and care he's put into PlayStation over the years. What are your thoughts on Connie Booth stepping away? Are we starting to see the unraveling of PlayStation?
Well, I don't want to get too dramatic and say it unraveling, but I do know that if the tables were turned and at Microsoft and Xbox were having all these people like this, hell, when they did have just smaller roles, like, oh, the writer for Halo went to such and such, doom and gloom, Microsoft, the bad management, like, but now when you have major shocking moves like this, where she's been fired or moved on, and her team as well, and walked out of the building, and they had to replace her with the head of Guerrilla Games, then it's like, oh no, she just wanted to retire. And I had people on my tweet literally saying that because she retired. I said, her and her team, that's pretty unique. Like, well, how do you know? It's a rumor. I said, yeah, and you're speaking to a rumor, but you're saying it's the retirement. How do you know?
Yeah, well, this is what Post Up said. He says, now we don't even know who that is. Yeah. You didn't know about half the people at Xbox that left,
exactly.
But that didn't stop y'all from the doom and gloom narrative. Keep that same energy, #PlayStation. He ain't wrong.
Exactly.
He ain't wrong.
Bellantone said Ninja Theory's janitor quit. Fire Satya. Exactly. So that's it is. It's doom and gloom no matter what happens on Xbox side, but when it's PlayStation, oh, they're fine. They did a little meme with it's fine, the house burning around them. And on top of this, we already know about other layoffs and things that's happened. I mean, you got Dreams and Light, Little Big Planet Studio, Media Molecule, who's laid off 15 to 20% of their staff, right? I think it's about 20 people or so that they had to let go. You had what was the other one? You had some other layoffs I cannot quite remember at the top of my head at this moment that happened at Sony as well. And this one being a major one because she's been with the company since 89? I mean, yeah,
she's been there
for a minute,
a long time. And again, under her tenure, she has been responsible for some major IPs.
Yeah, she has, like, crazy resume. I made a tweet saying, sure would be a shame if she had to get picked up and liberated on the Xbox side of things, So yeah, I feel like, and by the way, Jaffee and I mentioned this on his tweet when he talked about it. I said, isn't this the woman you had constantly been? That's right. Thank you, Spider-Man 356. He said Bungie. Yeah, Bungie let go of people too. It was somebody else as well that I can't remember right now. Naughty Dog. That's it. Thank you, God Empress Sofa King. There's a bunch, and I think you're going to hear more coming up. By the way, I don't want to sound all negative.
Well, there was one this morning from Media Molecule.
Yeah,
they're unfortunately laying off 20% of their studio.
Exactly. I mentioned it before. I think you stepped away for a second, but yeah. So you have a bunch of those, but what was I going with that? I asked Jaffee on his tweet when he made mention of it. I said, "Isn't this the woman that you had constantly said Phil and team would do well to grab as far as bringing somebody in to help with management?" And he was like, he liked that tweet, so that was definitely her.
Yeah, it was. I've heard him say it.
Yeah,
that's the one.
He's talked about her many times. So I'm starting to wonder now that he's mentioned her, at least that by my notice, 2 times that I can think of on 2 different shows distant apart. I wonder if he had been hearing rumblings about this for a while, because it seems kind of like he's kind of like putting that earbug out there, like, hey, Microsoft, you got somebody who you could try to bring in, you know what I mean? Because he may have heard that Sony might have been going this way. So I don't think it's a matter of, oh, she's run her course, let's get rid of her. Not with the resume she has. I don't think you can argue, oh, she just, she's been redundant at this point. Nah, not with all the connections to super major IP that she has on her resume. Like, her resume is second to none if you really look at it. So I just don't believe that. So I think this is a sign of things to come. I just don't believe the media is going to highlight this negative.
Probably not,
as they would Xbox. That's the thing.
Listen, I want to, first of all, before we bring over to C Money and I get to the super chats, I want to say something, and it's more of a public service announcement for the Double Barrel Gaming as well as the members on this panel. And I want this to be clear, okay? There will never be a time where myself or anybody that's associated with the channel and their own channels will promote the firing or the laying off of any worker. Understand that is not a joke. In 2023, It is hard right now with a job to make ends meet. So we would never make light. Want that to be clear, because some MF is going to be like, oh, you see BoomStick, he's championing people being fired. Because if I see that, I will block you. I'm going to let you know right now. No one here on this panel or any of the panels I work with on a weekly basis would ever even suggest it in jest. I want that to be clear, because there's going to be somebody that's going to be like, oh, man, but these people lost their jobs. And hopefully, because this industry is very tight, the minute that these people are laid off, somebody is opening their doors to them. We've seen that more often than not. That's what I love about the gaming industry. Yes, especially at this level, 100%. But let me catch up on the super chats, and then we will get to you, C Money, get your hot take on this. Drawn TJ drops the first 2 super chats of the day, both of $5, and he says, D-Batch is a pony. He is damage controlling Spider-Man 2 bugs. LOL, Bugman 2 is quality, right? I mean, look, I can't say that about. I like D a lot. I mean, yeah, he's doing what D is doing. He's a grown man. He's out there towing the line. I mean, listen, I like D-Batch.
He's a PC dude, man. He's PC.
But he is a PC dude. That's really what D-Batch is. He goes on to say on the second $5 super chat, PlayStation games are getting buggier and less are being made by Sony. I mean, well, the quality is not there. I mean, look, again, Spider-Man is a great looking game, and when you're playing it and it's running great, it's running great. But yes, there have been a lot of releases for their major franchises, like Horizon had egregious bugs.
Returnal
had egregious bugs.
Had the devs tell you flat out, don't play the game yet.
Yeah, which is not really good.
It's like every
Gran
game
Turismo 7 had egregious bugs. No one talked about that. Now, obviously, we're seeing with Spider-Man 2, so it's unfortunate. Dean Rivera drops a very generous $5 super chat and says, thanks to C Money for defending me on Twitter last night with the dude trashing me because I'm Mexican and Puerto Rican. What?
Yeah.
Dude, that
some douchebag.
So block and report.
So on Twitter, some dude who says he's Puerto Rican, he has a Puerto Rican flag in his name, and he goes and he's saying that that the flag thing doesn't matter to him, that we're just worried about talking crap about the game of the year and all this other crap.
Yeah,
and it's like, so I retweeted him, and I was like, oh, my man puts a console over his heritage. You know what I'm saying? Like he rather,
I think I saw
going
that
with the console crap than care about the heritage.
I've
So
seen
Dean
that.
was Dean came in on that and started talking about how he feels about it and stuff. And then this dude just out of nowhere, that guy did not one time reply to me. Okay, I quote tweeted him. There was no confusion here, right? He knows who was talking the shit about him, right? I was doing it. Did not write to me one time, but my man Dean comes in, he writes something, and he goes ahead and gets nasty and disrespectful in Spanish about Dean being half Mexican.
That's disgusting.
Trying to say that because he's only half Puerto Rican, that he's talking crap to somebody who's full Puerto Rican. Like, dude, that was
Jesus Christ,
so disrespectful.
Wow. Yeah.
F that dude. Dean, you the man. You know it.
Yeah.
F that guy, bro.
On the whole thing with that was mentioned beforehand, I guess I may as well address it with D and our brother Dirt Griggity. I'm sure you all have seen those tweets of them going back and forth.
Yeah, Dirt wears it.
Who was that between Dirt and who? Somebody who was the person who was talking
RDX?
Yeah, D-Batch and Dirt Griggity kind of had a.
Yeah.
Oh, D was the one who was talking shit.
It was both of them going back and forth. I think.
Yeah, they were equally involved.
Yeah, I think his heart is in the right place. I will say, I think though that I think he stepped out there to kind of try to be the whole neutral thing, but I think that some will take it as, oh, you want to try to gatekeep what we can do. However, you didn't do this when the our hooligans,
the hooved hijinks, as it's known.
Been pulling these hooved hijinks and hooved hysterics. You didn't do it then, but so I get it. It's unfortunate that they're going back and forth like that because they're two good brothers. I'll just say
great people, both of them. Yeah. I love them both. I really do.
I saw the tweet. I
do this.
Know.
I'm not being a neutral prick, but I can't get in the middle. You guys were like brothers. You fight it out, work it out, and they'll handshake and make up. Hopefully.
I saw the tweet that Dirt put out, and I was like, he's talking about somebody.
Yeah.
Who are we talking about?
Yeah, Dirt. I just hope that he doesn't make him a POS of the week because
well maybe
after I saw the tweets I saw he just might. But
I've been on Dirt's show twice, and every time he does it, like he has a whole presentation. Like if I had drank water, I would have peed my pants in laughter.
Yeah, it's so dope.
It's the funniest gift.
I've ever already seen. Did apparently. Oh, okay.
Well, did he even miss it?
He
listen.
Did. He did mention that. He called him POS. He did say that in the tweet. I didn't even know he said it on the show though. Like that.
Oh, good grief! All right, well, you know what? It's the
gauntlet. The one thing I'll say about Dirt, all right, is that I didn't know Dirt too well before I did the interview with him, but after interviewing him and seeing the type of dude that he is and the family man that he is, and how he put God's first and shit like that, and the stuff that he went through, he was turned. Just so like people, if you don't know and you see Dirt Griggity out there talking about we bleed green and his place is not for ponies and it's for Xbox and his show, that's not how Dirt started out. Dirt was out there chilling with people, but it's the ponies who sat there and tricked him into coming onto his panels to like give him shit and like to make fun of Xbox with him there at his expense. Like all this stuff that happened to him. Of course, my man is done. Of course, he don't want you around. He don't want you on his panel. He don't want you in his chat. He don't care for your money. He don't care about your opinions. My man is real, dude, and I respect the shit out of Dirt.
No,
he went through a lot of crap. In YouTube,
1000%. Like I love the work that he does in the community. Some people consider it to be slanderous. It's his content.
It is against ponies. It's not against PlayStation. It's ponies.
I respect that he flats out says, "Listen, you're trying to gatekeep what I say, and you say, it's the echo chamber." He said, "That's exactly what I want it to be. This is on purpose."
Yeah. Oh, he doesn't care. He doesn't care.
That's what they're aiming for. And I don't think it's a. And if you watch the show, it's entertaining as hell.
It's fun. It's fun. His shows are fun.
Yeah. Now go from there and watch one of our Hoove brothers, and when they try to tear down Xbox, it is night and day. It is hostile. It is mean spirited. It's everything but kind. I don't think Dirt and WBG, I don't think their show is like that at all, even though they will snipe some, Hoove.
Oh no, they will let you know about yourself, but they don't talk about your mama and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Like they don't make it a personal
thing.
They're
not 14. They're not 14.
Yeah, well, they're not 14. But Dean Rivera adds an additional very generous $5 super chat and says, commented on a post about how I don't care too much for Spider-Man, and I was immediately attacked for my opinion. Yeah, dude, that's just, you got to understand the PlayStation community is younger. They're a younger bunch of gamers, and they act like 14-year-olds. That's unfortunate. Not everyone.
Younger age and younger minded.
Yeah.
Both.
Sith Lord confirms, and this is great news for anyone that's an OG like myself. After dropping a $2 super chat, says Star Wars Dark Forces Remastered confirmed for $228.24 on all platforms. I'm day one buy. That game was dope. Dean Rivera drops an additional, very generous $5 super chat. Says got Spider-Man 2 off of the FB Marketplace on Saturday for $50. Resold it Sunday for my money back. I mean, hey, listen, dude, you know what? If it's not your game, it's not your game. Scott Gamer Dude, generous friend of the program, drops a very generous $5 super chat and says, hello, Boom and C Money. There was someone on C Money's show that said Sony is a sinking ship. We need to throw them an Xbox control to save their lives. I don't know who that was, but whoever it was, yeah. I mean, it could be a floaty, Xbox controller floaty. Just
there you go.
Hold on to it so you don't sink. Good friend of the show, Michael Mooney, all the way from the other side of the pond, drops a very generous £10 super chat and says, I laughed at the studio head saying Spider-Man 2 was their Winter Soldier. Anyway, back to the real news. Rockstar uploaded a new private video. Hold on.
Don't get too excited. I don't think that's it.
I mean, we don't know. I like what Michael's putting down. I'm gonna be honest with you. I did see a story, some of the community talking about it, that maybe at this partner event, because there's been rumors for weeks.
That would be
right.
They would have to pay literally arm and leg because typically
infinite.
Rockstar does it on their own. They typically do it on their own, like being real.
You're talking about trillions, dog.
I would say
now they got the money.
Satya wants it, he go gets it. You know what I'm saying?
What's funny? Tomorrow evening, Satya is out there doing some interviews, and that dude, he's got some. We're not going to talk about it today because it's really in depth. I'm going to save that for the panel tomorrow evening on Primetime Gaming, and I'm going to see if I can get OBM to join us as well because he really does. He has a really good thought process on it. The way Satya Nadella is talking, folks, you PlayStation
just
folks,
said we're doubling down, baby.
You woke a sleeping giant. No, all jokes aside, you think it's over? You think that they're going to stop at ABK? Yeah, I'm telling you right now, King David, who is 98.9% right of the time, he's been calling it for a year that there's not going to be a PlayStation 6 at this rate. He may be onto something. Sony is not going to be able to challenge Microsoft, and Microsoft is far from done building that moat. Like Pong Soul says, they're in the process of building a moat that can protect them internally against anything that Apple or Google or anyone else does. And if they keep buying,
maybe in my chat yesterday said something, and it makes sense. All these closures, all these like thinning of Sony studios, it might just be because they're trying to make themselves look attractive
trim the fat.
A purchase,
absolutely.
For someone to come in and buy them. And we say it on our channel all the time. It's our strongest belief that I have. PlayStation cannot survive against Microsoft on their own. They can't afford it.
Well, you know what? I want you to
bought into King with the PlayStation 6 won't be happening thing, right? Because he
said say that one more time.
King said this will be the last console for Sony.
Yep, he's been saying it for a while. In fact, he doubled down on it on Sunday.
But I was going to say, G maybe has come up with some great theories. He's been on my chat before, and he had some great opinions, by the way. So shout out to G maybe. But I feel like they wouldn't even have to do that, like in themselves, because if Apple, for instance, was trying to get them, Apple has more than enough capital to buy them lock, stock, and barrel with everything they got. So I don't know
for sure.
Yeah. I don't know if it's them trying to make themselves more attractive or, just greed at the top. Like, we got to cut some people out. I need my
I think even though Apple would buy them or anybody would buy them, they still want to buy them at the most optimal,
that's true,
position. And that it is bloat, right? That if I buy Sony with all the crap that they have and I don't want that crap, like it's either I'm going to fire them first or I'm going to fire them after, or you do it now. So you save me the headache. Right.
Well, listen, we will continue this conversation in a second because I do want to get your opinion, C Money, on Miss Booth leaving, but I do want to catch up on the super chat. Splendiferous drops a very generous $2 super chat and says, "You three toxic gentlemen are some of my favorites. Have a great day."
Salute, man. Salute.
God Emperor Sofa King, who's been a channel member for 6 months, and he's obviously someone that has donated a significant amount. So, God Emperor Sofa King, thank you for the consistent generosity, brother. I don't know what to say, but other than thank you, honestly. He says, Dreamcast guy looks like a ghoul straight out of the Mojave wasteland of Fallout New Vegas. Shut up! Shout out to my brother Dirt, and D is a pony bot. Oh, goodness,
that was it. Man, out of the Mojave Desert.
That was beautiful. God, that's crazy. It's crazy because it's true, but I mean, listen, it is what it is. C Money. It said, Drawn TJ says this after dropping an additional $2 super chat. Hi, C Money. It was fun playing Halo Infinite, which is pretty dope,
brother.
Yeah, I gotta do some multiplayer. I just finished the battle pass.
Nice.
Saturday or Sunday. Oh my God, it's so good. I'm closing in on 17 days in Infinite. I'm
Jesus
just
Christ. That's dope.
Freaking loving
it's
it. Dude.
So good, man. It's so
fast.
good. Now he was taking me through, like, I have not really messed with like the Forge maps, the custom maps that have been made. So my man John was taking me through so many of these like dope as people make Call of Duty maps,
yes,
like to the T. I was just playing this map in Call of Duty, and it felt immediately the same. Like so many, he showed me a lot of.
They've added those into the rotation. Like the one that's in there now is like a Japanese palace.
Yeah,
it's dope. It's so good.
It's so dope.
And the old man still get it. I'm double-digit kills every game. I have had some times where I went like a 3-15. I'm like, I think I need to quit. Like I think I'm too old.
I would say I think the Halo's community, as far as things have been, has always been impressive, but they are really outdoing themselves now. I think obviously this is the most impressive Forge has ever been. But I think a lot of them are rising to that challenge because
you know something that's coming.
Stuff that's crazy.
They're going to be bringing some single player stuff.
I know AI. They bringing a campaign AI and things like that.
And I am here for it. Let me just tell you that right now. I can't
wait to see what they do with it. John was also telling me, and it makes sense where this ABK being owned now by Microsoft. What's to stop Microsoft from introducing this type of Forge experience to a Call of Duty with people being able to make their own maps and doing all that stuff? So
they have more than enough support studios to make one. As a
I mean, look, there's something to be said about potentially using some of the talent there to help continue building the next Halo, which hopefully we get sooner than later. But
like Unreal Engine 5, by the way. The more we keep hearing reports, it's sounding more and more like
it sounds like they're gonna do that, which is I'm happy for.
I think they're gonna. I think it's dope. John, it was fun playing with you, my man. We'll play again soon, bro.
Yeah, I miss killing you in Halo, Drawn. But I'm 27.
You guys had the game nights. I want to go. I'm gonna hop in.
I
gotta jump in there with us sometime.
Yeah.
See, man, you know what? Before I get to the last 3 super chats, we move on to the next topic. I do want to get your hot take on Miss Booth leaving. Connie Booth has a history with PlayStation and some of their biggest releases. She's gone, but it's not just her. Her entire team, and the way it has been painted, the way it has been stated, is that her entire team walked out of Sony. Now, to me, that sounds like you got rid of our leader. Go F yourself. I don't know if that's true, but those were the words that were used. She apparently was fired, according to Jaffee. I don't know. Again, we have no confirmation. I've been looking. I cannot find it. But I'm going on base what he said. Okay.
So he confirmed it because he first teased it when he heard it from the inside of Sony. So he had 2 people on the inside of Sony that brought it up. So that's why he teased it. He finally confirmed it after he had 2 more people who were unrelated to each other separately confirm it from outside of Sony. So it bled to the outside of Sony. He heard it from 2 different other sources. That's why he's like, okay, now I can confirm it. So that's why we know it is happening. We do know that Sony right now is not in a position to confirm any more bad news. That's why everything is just being on the hush hush. They're not going to say anything right now. They're just hoping to God that somebody continues to buy Spider-Man, um, because that's the only game they got this year. And Final Fantasy, um, did not do what it needed to do for them. So that is, that's why we're not going to hear anything. But as far as Connie Booth leaving, I mean, look, when I first read it, like I listen to Jaffee every once in a while. He's interesting. Um, but when listening to him, you don't have to listen to him too much for him to basically bring up like his trinity of people who are at Sony that he holds in high regards, which is Shuhei Yoshida, Scott Rhodey, and Connie Booth. But I don't know why I felt like Connie was so ingrained. Like when he first teased it, I was like, oh shit, that means it's either Shuhei Yoshida or Scott Rhodey. I feel like Connie was so ingrained, like she would never go. And then to hear that it was her, it's like, oh, damn. Now, what this tells me, I don't think it's hard to say. She could have easily left or gotten fired. One of the two could have taken place. The way he phrased it in speaking about it when talking about potentially disrespectful and don't ever think your job is your family and things all like that, that makes me believe that they let her go, that they told her to kick rocks, they're done with her. And the fact that everybody left with her, it reminds me of, to a much lesser degree obviously, but like when Bonnie Ross left 343, right, and she retired, right, even though she wasn't let go, quote unquote. A few of the other big people who were there left with her, right, like kind of quit at the same time. So I can definitely see that, you know, if she got fired, her team who's worked with her for over 30 years doesn't want to, stick around for that. Like I could see that. But what this ultimately shows me, or at least suggests to me, is that the fact that they're bringing a corporate dude to run PlayStation instead of a PlayStation dude to run PlayStation, um, that leads me to believe that they were not happy with the way that the roadmap looked internally, and they're not happy with it where they were going. And it's a double-edged sword because yes, amazing resume. She has credits for all these games that she's done, but as far as business is concerned, I mean, just frankly, it, it's what have you done for me lately, right? And what is the plan going forward? And we don't know if her plan, which is the old PlayStation rooted idea of making these big banger games, right? And these high quality games, we don't know if that aligns with what the new PlayStation is. And I say new PlayStation because when you have a change of the leadership on the very tippity top, not someone beneath the leader, right? But when you're changing the physical leader at the top, things change. And let's not forget that Sean Layden had a very different outlook on gaming before Jim Ryan took over. And when Jim Ryan took over, many things changed at Sony. And this is just the reality. Look at all the studios that got cut right off the rip, for all the Japanese studios and all those things that they had before, gone. Those games disappear. Those IP that people love, Gravity Rush, all these things, gone, right? And that was from the change of the guard. If you don't think that Jim Ryan being replaced by not somebody at PlayStation, again, remember, Sean Layden at PlayStation, Jim Ryan, PlayStation. Jim Ryan took out Sean Layden, okay, but it's still PlayStation, okay? For them to not have a PlayStation dude take over means that they're doing things differently. They have a different outlook on what the future of PlayStation is going to be, and they're looking for that profit. And, as much as King, oh man, as much as he believes that this is the last PlayStation, something like this, where it's a whole new guard there, maybe they don't see the value in it. Maybe they don't see the value in making a box that has 50 million people in it when only 2.5 million people are going to buy it. Or once it gets to 80 million or 70 million, then 10 to 20 million people might buy it. You know what I'm saying? Like, maybe they don't see the value. They're spending so much money on hardware and people are not buying the games. They all buy Call of Duty. They all buy,
and that's going to change. That's why the doomsday clock has started November 10th, brother. Because I'm telling you right now, folks, casual gamers are cheap, and I don't mean to be disrespectful, but they buy 3 to 4 games a year. And I'm telling you right now, if one of those games is Call of Duty, and it probably is, and they can find out, because what's going to happen at the water cooler, folks, is someone who's going to be an Xbox Game Pass subscriber and like, oh, dude, I just downloaded Call of Duty for free. Wait a second, what? What do you mean for free? Oh yeah, Game Pass. I get like 500 games in there, new games every month. Call of Duty, you just got to download, and it's going to sell a console, or they're going to play it on their TV or their PC or on their phone or wherever.
I remember a dude on Twitter got pissed when I was like, well, we get all these games for free in Game Pass. You don't get them for free. You pay, blah, blah, blah. Wow. I said, well, you may as well consider it free, brother. I'm getting 400 plus games at the cost of what, 20 cents or something, maybe less than that a piece. If you're going to go that route, it's more or less free. Now you're going to get hung up on the whole free semantic argument of it. But
people get really
because your sunk cost is already done. The sunk cost is over. You pay the $15.99 or $16, $17, whatever it is. That's a fixed cost that you're paying regardless of what goes in there. So after that, everything else is just what new item we got for free for our subscription that we pay.
And that dude was upset enough to block me. I'm like, it's not even that serious. That's why I said,
it's really not that serious, but you know, it's fine. Listen, one less person to yell at you.
Exactly. But I was going to say, boom, to go off what C Money was just talking about, it lends itself more. Now that I'm seeing Connie going like this, it lends itself more to us me at least believing, tinfoil hat that I borrowed from Everborn, that maybe old Jim wasn't just retired into the sunset. Like, again, it goes back to that thought that
he was fired, dude. I'm sorry.
I told you.
It goes back to that. Yeah, because now you see this with Connie Booth. It's like, what's the odds of two major heads like that, figures in PlayStation, just so happen to retire? You know what I mean? Because we haven't heard official word yet from her. So if they come out, oh, she retired, we'll know. Obviously, they're full of crap. So I feel like maybe it could be, go to T Money's point. Maybe they're trying to slim themselves down in some capacity, or maybe Jim quit because he knew about what Sony planned to do and getting rid of people like Connie, and probably more that we're going to hear about in the coming months. And he was like, he wasn't feeling
he assassinated Sean Layden, bro. He assassinated Sean Layden.
He did. He
ain't worried about nobody.
Yep.
He is worried about himself. And unfortunately, PlayStation is hurting. Sony knew that the Call of Duty, that Xbox owning Activision and having control over Call of Duty, maybe it's not now, maybe it's not in 10 years, but in 15 years, whatever it is, this business is going to keep going, right? Yep. You don't take a business in the billions that you're looking to grow further and say it's going to be gone anytime soon. So Sony has, as a business, they have their short-term issues and then they have their long-term issues. And at the end of the day, as they can play out, just like Boom said, once November 10th comes and Modern Warfare 3 comes out, I don't think it's going to be in a year that we're going to see that huge flip. But I say by the end of this generation, I for sure feel like Xbox will be the one on top and PlayStation will be the one beneath them.
It's only so long, I think, going to your point.
It's
only
just
so long people can keep ignoring the value proposition there.
Exactly.
You're absolutely right. And the price of the world, folks, continues to grow. Everything is going up in price. And I know people like clown on me when I talk about, like, when you do your food shopping and you see people on the TikToks, right? This is what $100 gets you. And it's like a pack of meat and a few other things. That's real life, folks.
That is real life.
And dude, I hate to say this. I mean, I run a household on a pension, so I understand that It's a great pension, but it has a ceiling, right? The choices usually when you're running a household on a salary, the first thing to go, anyone that's the family person understands this. Is entertainment is the first thing to go. That's the first thing that's not even a conversational piece. It's just gone because you don't need that to live.
You know, typically that is true, right? But this is weird for Sony because they have become reliant on their entertainment division now.
Indeed,
so Sony, PlayStation has been holding them up largely.
That's what. So I'm telling you, like Sony, like the people who want to disparage the idea that Sony will most likely get bought are not looking at the fact that outside of PlayStation, Sony is essentially irrelevant. They make good quality stuff, but nobody gives a shit because they much rather buy the marketing of Samsung or LG when it comes to TVs, phones, fucking washing machines, for refrigerators. Like Sony is not, it's just, they're not it anymore. They make movies, their movies more often than not fucking suck. Like they're not great. They just got Spider-Man, just like on PlayStation. It's just they got Spider-Man. That's it.
That's all they got.
That's all they got.
Clinging to him with all they got left.
Well,
dude, they should be, the PlayStation fans should be hitting up Apple, should be hitting up Amazon, like, yo, hashtag, we need to all do it. Hashtag save Sony, right? And let's get Apple on board with the idea. Amazon, let's get one of these big money spenders to do it, because not for nothing, as an Xbox fan, right? I want them to get purchased. I'm not like the people in these places that say, oh, Apple's gonna make them charge $14,000 for a PlayStation 6. No, this is business, guys. Come on, let's not be stupid. They're going to sell it for what the market bears, right? So nothing is going to change in that respect. But what it is going to do is allow for real competition. Sony cannot compete. These are just facts, guys. This is not us. This is not a debate, right? Like stealing words from Dirt, right? This is not a debate. These are just facts. Sony's bank is tiny compared to Xbox and Microsoft. They cannot compete. When Matt Booty said it, to be clear, there was no lie. There was no lie written. That wasn't a different time or a different perception. No, he said we'll spend them out of business, and ABK deal solidifies that idea.
I just find it so funny to see Matt Booty, who's so laid back and seemingly nonchalant when he's talking in interviews and such. Yeah, but behind the scenes,
killer on the inside, baby. That's the Xbox team.
Yeah,
that's the Xbox squad.
He's
talking like a New Yorker. Get him out of here. Somehow
it's
he developed a New York accent. But yeah, no, it's funny.
So true, bro.
It is funny.
It's true. They are proving that out. And unfortunately, no matter how much a good game is, Spider-Man, great game, right? You guys love it. I'm sure I will love it whenever I do play it, right? That's not going to save Sony. Look at the sales. Look at the sales. No matter what you feel about it, look at the sales. 2.5 ain't changing nothing for Sony. Well, and that's the only game they got this year.
Well, I mean, to see Money's point, and I do want to move on to the Killer Instinct topic, because I've actually had this topic on tap for like a week, and it just so much breaking news. We haven't had a chance to get to it, so we are going to get to it because Jez Corden wrote a really cool story. We don't know what the final total sales is going to be. They're going to probably reach 5 million at some point. But when you consider, gentlemen, that there may in fact be 50 million consoles available worldwide for PlayStation 5, right? Worldwide, it's widely available. You can find one on any shelf. 50 million. If you only sold 2.5 million in your first 24 hours, even though that's record breaking for them. It's record breaking indeed. No one make no mistake, but it's still single digits to the first for their fans, quote unquote fans, coming out to buy a first party exclusive. Makes you wonder. But again, we'll know, and I would imagine in the coming weeks exactly what the total sales are. I would imagine, and again, this is just a guesstimate because I do think the Spider-Man 2 is very good. By year's end, I think they hit the 5 million mark easily. I think they can easily, through the holidays, add another 2.5, maybe even 3 $3 million to the total. Maybe get it closer to 6 before the end of the year. That I don't doubt. But
Yeah,
I will catch up on the super chats before we get out of here. I do want to bring up the story. Now, folks, look, if there's one thing that I've been banging the drum for years, is there are several things missing from the repertoire, if you will, or the portfolio of Xbox Game Pass. One of which is the family aspect, which I want a Banjo-Kazooie. I want to see what the next Spyro is going to look like. I think that we can see a Toys for Bob Crash Team Racing incorporating Xbox characters. I'd like to see a real AAA budgeted, because they have the bones there. They just need to add, different courses from different, make it a Mario Kart for Xbox. That's what they should ultimately do. Hopefully that will happen. But there is something else that is a part and a big part of gaming, and that is the fighting scene. I mean, listen, I'm going to be honest with you. It is egregious that Microsoft did not have somebody to step in to take up what Iron Galaxy had put down. But we did hear Phil on multiple occasions said, listen, Matt Booty and I talk about it on a regular basis. Killer Instinct, we're just trying to find the right studio. Well, it turns out that Iron Galaxy is working on a 10-year update for the game. And they have also said publicly they intend to work on the game for the next decade, which immediately equates that they have been purchased. They just haven't been announced, but they were purchased. I'm telling you right now, Microsoft bought them. And I say that with confidence, not because I know, not because I got a connection, I got a call from someone within Microsoft, because I don't have connections like that. But the reason why they got purchased is it just seems to be 1 + 1 is 2. They could not make a Killer Instinct without Iron Galaxy because Iron Galaxy was making their own thing and they were contracted to make another game. They can't have that happen again. They have to have a studio that knows the brand, which they did seasons 2 and 3, and they were phenomenal, right? And it just makes sense. You buy them for whatever it is. You bring them in. You add them as one of the many studios that are going to be coming in the next 6 months. I'm telling you right now, IO Interactive, Asobo's a possibility. Certain Affinity is a possibility. Crystal Dynamics and Eidos Montreal, to me, those are a lock because they're working on 2 major first-party games. But speaking of Killer Instinct, Jez Corden of Windows Central did an amazing article, which I have in front of me. Actually, I'm sorry. He tweeted it, and he talked about it, but the article was written by Alexander Cope. Now, mind you, today is the 24th, so it was written 10 days ago. And like I said, there's been so much breaking news that it's just one of those stories I just did not have enough time in a show to get to. I do want to get your gentleman's hot take on this. The titled articles, Umbra, says with Activision-Blizzard, the Killer Instinct revival could get some absolutely crazy guest characters. Now, guest characters, well, I mean, if there's one place that you look at guest characters and you're like, man, they just don't need, they just keep hitting on all cylinders. I'm not talking about Fortnite. I'm talking about fighters. You look at right across the way and what they're doing at Mortal Kombat. They've had some of the most iconic, mind-bending characters, and Mortal Kombat 1 is no slouch. They have some crazy, violent superhero characters making their way.
Van Damme.
Was that Van Damme? I imagine Van Damme's in there as well too, and he even recorded the voice, which is pretty dope. But Killer Instinct, gentlemen, look, I'm taking it back, folks. I remember going to the arcade after working in Funkoland, and going with my pops to the arcade and hearing. It was the loudest machine in Nathan's. Now, what I'm talking about is, yes, the Frankfurter folks, there was a Nathan's arcade. I've talked about this before. On Central Avenue in Yonkers, New York. It's gone. It's been gone for years. but it had like 200 arcade cabinets. It was the mecca of the arcade scene for at least New York. And they had tournaments, and it was amazing. My brother Neil Mental and I and a few of our friends spent our childhood there like crazy. And
all you heard was Ultra.
Yeah, as soon as you walked in, it was the loudest machine there. And I never forget, I saw Saberwolf, who's my favorite character, and I was like, oh my God, this is ridiculous.
This was when it was Jago, personally.
Who's that? Jago?
Jago and his sister, because when I saw that what her fatality was, I'm like, yeah, I like her fatality.
So listen, let's talk about it, because Killer Instinct had 3 seasons. The last 2 Iron Galaxy did, and we had Battletoads was in there. You had the Arbiter in there. You had, who else did you have in there? Holy moly! Why am I drawing a blank? You had a bunch of really Arbiter, cool. Yes. You had General Ram was in there as well. So, I mean, just from the Xbox point of view, first of all, Master Chief is a lock. Doom Guy is a lock. I'd love to see someone from Fallout in the power armor there. That would be a lock. But when you consider, Umbra, how many IP that Microsoft currently now owns thanks to ABK, the Blizzard aspect, you can go really crazy with WoW. You can get Lilith in there potentially from Diablo 4.
Yep.
My pick is the dude from Prototype, Mercer. Get that dude in there as well. He would make a freaking awesome character. What are your thoughts on this, man? Because obviously, Windows Central's putting this out to the ether. They think that there's a possibility of not. I mean, we know that a revival is coming. We know that this game is getting rebooted. It is going to be the Killer Instinct that we all know and love, because Iron Galaxy is the one that's going to do it. But who do you personally want to see come to the fighting? A legendary fighter who could hold its ties with Street Fighter, with Mortal Kombat, with all the greats.
This is the thing right here. Now, I see some people mention Crash and Spyro. They don't really fit there quite, but they do have their Riptor. Right? What's his name? Raptor. What was his name?
I think it's Riptor. I think it is right. That's the dinosaur.
Yeah, it kind of fits, but I don't know if I would see Spyro and Crash in there. It might be a little too comical seeing Crash in there, but yeah, absolutely. You mentioned Diablo, for instance. Lilith will fit in there perfectly. Seeing somebody from Diablo. You can just have any of the character classes from Diablo, any of them.
Indeed, yeah.
Sorcerer, be it the rogue, be it whomever, they could easily implement to it. They could go the WoW route and bring in the Alliance members and such like that. They could go so many ways with that. I'll tell you who I would say though, and this is my thing. I would say is that Microsoft, and I hope they do this, because I think the bigger problem why we might not get that, at least this is my worry, is that I don't think Phil and team kind of enforces the whole cross-pollination as we would want. I think they kind of let their devs do what they're gonna do, and they don't say, hey, let's try to include these people here from this other game. For instance, right now we should have a Doom Guy armor in Halo Infinite. There should be no question. It would sell like hotcakes,
dude. I'd pay $20 for it. I'm telling you right now. I know I'm part of the problem, but I'm gonna tell you this right now. Not only that, you give me a power armor from Fallout, I'm buying it.
Yeah, see, stuff like that is instant, right? So you bring in the heavy hitters, Marcus Phoenix. Bring in all of the Gears cast. Actually, I would put them all in there. I mean, I would make this thing a whole Smash Brothers.
Could you imagine Coltrane? What his finisher would be?
Bring it on, baby.
Yeah, dude. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah,
bring in Coltrane. Bring in Dom. Bring back General Rom.
How about a zombie Dom?
They can have an alternative outfit for him. Absolutely. Have Farmer Marcus with his tomatoes they throw at you or something. I don't know, but like they got so many ways they can go with that. And like they could, even when he gets downed or something, revive me. They can have him do all. It's so many ways they can go with it. I see somebody mention Go in the Dark. Absolutely, go after the iconic character. Go after the iconic characters that they have. Don't go with lesser, like, I don't know. I can't even think of anything off the top of my head. Somebody just kind of minor, but go after the big. If you're gonna go with the Halo route, right? You already got the Arbiter you brought in. You brought Arby in. Bring in Master Chief. Who the hell wouldn't want Master Chief in there? Yes, please. Yep. Bring in Cortana, where she has her fully realized body she can take form.
That's amazing.
Now. Bring in go back in time, of course. And you don't have to go back in time.
Jason Portillo says Conquer. You know what's crazy? I can see
Conquer is that's why him and Crash are kind of too cartoony.
It would be questionable, to be honest with you. But I like the pick. Could you imagine him just like a real life version of Conquer with like a chainsaw?
They did the same thing with Rash.
They did put Rash in there, so
that's true.
Yeah,
and they just make them look like they fit. It's not. True. Listen, this is the thing. We need to let Microsoft know that we want to have fun, right? So I want them to take Crash, make them jacked, do whatever you got to do to make them fit the world and have them go in. Same thing with Conquer. Like just have fun, man.
They could. If they go the route of just being fun and they go, like I said, a Smash Brothers route, then they can do all of that, right? Like, to be fair, like you said, Rash is in there, so it's not like they haven't gone that direction. So
exactly.
To be fair, I guess that's a fair point. Bring back Rash.
What about Chai from Hi-Fi Rush? You make him like a life.
Oh, you speaking to my heart.
I mean, how dope would that be if they drew him like they did Rash? You know, they give him the real look, but he would just be the character from Hi-Fi Rush.
I want him fully voiced by his voice actor and all.
Dude,
I would be 100% down for that. I think he would fit. Chai would fit really well in there, actually, with his style of fighting. By the way, Jason B said put a Forza driver in there.
But see, I don't see that's fun.
But that's what I meant by lesser characters. See what I mean? That's what I meant. But like, to me, that sounds like the Wii Fit character they brought into one of the Smash Brothers. You see what I'm saying? Like, sure, they could go if they go fully out there and embrace the silliness of it all. Then 100% sure. Bring in Conquer. Bring in Blinks. Bring in all these other kids. Bring in Voodoo Vince. You know, they could go all out.
We're not there for the story. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. That's true.
We're there for the fun of picking the character that you want to go in.
I mean, all of those characters could return.
I used to be like that with Tekken and Street Fighter. I used to be like that. Like, I want to know the story too until it got kind of ridiculous to the point where it didn't matter.
Well, you still do the story mode. You know what I'm saying? That doesn't have to have all these new crazy people justified.
That's true. I mean, for me though, like I saw some people also mention the prototype guy. I think it's
Alex Mercer. Bring
him in too. Absolutely, you utilize all this new IP you have, but my thing will be this too. Outside of the cross pollination and using all the IP that they have, which they absolutely should do and embrace. The problem I think is for me is that I think Microsoft has to really give them the proper funding. And I say that because for as much as Iron Galaxy and all of them pulled out of
that was a different Xbox, dude.
It was. So I just hope that they get the funding now. That's what I mean.
Yeah,
and you're right. It was a different Xbox. I just hope they get the proper funding because then they can put out something that competes with a Mortal Kombat, something that competes with Tekken, you know what I mean, or Street Fighter. Then if they did that, they could really excel, I think. I don't want them on a shoestring budget. Give them a proper budget, give them time and let them be creative. And I think we can get something really, really good out of the next Killer Instinct if there is indeed a reboot.
Well, he did say they got like the next 10 years of content that they're looking to be doing. So that shows at least something.
You got to remember, here's the thing, C-Money, and I really want to get your take on this because Umber brought up a great point. And the one thing about Phil, and like I said, I had a chance to meet him last November, which was absolutely amazing. He's awesome to talk to. Like what you see is what you get with Phil. That guy is real. The one thing that that Umber brought up is the cross pollination. Like Phil doesn't force people to do things. He wants people's passion to tell the story they want to tell. I think that's amazing. That's freaking amazing. The one thing I will say about the team that is at Iron Galaxy, it was their decision to bring in these guest characters. So I would imagine that now that they're going to be fully funded and they're going to get another stab at the rebooting the series, they're probably going to be like, okay, what's our limits? What could we imagine? And Phil's probably like, well, whatever you can imagine, just do it. And they're going to be the ones, they're probably going to bring characters that we didn't even mention.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So who do you want to see? What do you want to see from this?
I mean, I think Umbra and the chat pretty much said them all. Like, I'm always gonna, I want Master Chief.
What about Spawn? I saw some people mention that. Would that make it some, like,
this is the thing. I love
characters?
Spawn. I low key want Microsoft to buy Spawn. They should own it because I feel like Spawn is so underutilized in life, where he's such a dope ass character in his world.
Rich history,
crazy.
his epic backstory. Yes. He has an epic antagonist that was responsible for his death. Yeah, there's a lot with Spawn.
We need
dope.
a real AAA game made in that world.
I was going to say, reach out into the other IP that we know Microsoft has in the works. Think about the Clockwork Revolutions.
Holy crap, dude, that'd be great. What about Senua? No one mentioned her.
I've mentioned it in the chat. Like, I just thought about
that would be dope. Yes.
Think of Val. Like, think of
the sky's the
limit, choice with Outer Worlds. Like, it's so many things, right?
Yeah.
It's really like, that's the beauty of it, right? Like, the sky's the limit. Like, they can do whatever they want and whatever Microsoft would allow. I don't see where Phil's gonna be like, nah, I don't want these characters in there. Like, I don't think that matters to him. I think he's in it for the game regardless.
Matrix says Aaron Griffin from Gears of War. You know what would be great? Would be kind of dope. Again, off character that no one would think about. What about one of the Carmines? You know what I'm saying? Like,
Carmine,
that would be dope. I mean, come on, man.
Would absolutely love the grub killer in there.
Yeah.
It's true. Like, that's the thing. And then all the bad guys, right? Like, it's not just the good guys you could put in. You can put in the bad guys for any of these games. That I feel like it really is their opportunity to kind of dip their foot into what it would be like to have their Smash Brother clone, or like their kart racer, where they get to kind of reach in. And Phil's always talking about how they didn't want to make those things because they felt like they had to earn it, with their have the IP to use for it. And it's like, dude, every IP we owned is rugged, right? It's been tested. People love these IPs. They're out there. We have them now. It's time to put that ball into motion. And with Killer Instinct, hell yeah. We already got the bases. The dope thing is that we already know that we're going to get a dope-ass Killer Instinct game, because a dope-ass Killer Instinct game already exists. But now with proper funding, it's just going to be that much bigger and better, right?
Yeah.
So now it's just about what can they put in there to shock and delight us, like what's going to be cool to be in our fighter that wasn't in there before. But I'm very excited for the idea that it is coming back, and now that Xbox does have the IP and the reach for it, it'll be super dope, man. And then you don't even have to stop at, once you do this, right? This opens you up to being able to license characters, right? You don't have to stop at your own IP. Like, once people are used to seeing these cool characters in Killer Instinct, you can go out, license these other places just like a Fortnite would, right? Go get these other people, put them in your game every once in a while, make it a big deal, turn your seasons into that type of thing where, like, the seasons are about, the new maps and the new cool fighters that are going to come into the battle pass or whatever they're going to make for it. I think it's just the beginning of what that can be. I think we have big things in front of us for Killer Instinct. And the fact that they came out on stage and announced it as much, they got the gang back together, right? The guy who was in charge, and they got the team that pretty much gave us the best versions of Killer Instinct that we've had. And again, showing that there's that 10-year roadmap. Like you said, they probably already bought them.
I really think that they did, in my opinion.
I feel like they're finally gonna say, all right, we're in on this fighting game, and let's just go wild. Let's do what we want to do. I mean, the fighting was already down. We already knew that. Killer Instinct is already beloved because the fighting was dope. The only thing that they need to do is, how do you make that exciting? How do you make it an event that people want to come to and play and experience all the time? Cool characters.
Yeah,
bring them in.
That's one aspect. I would ask you guys this too. what would you feel about finishers and such and finishing moves? Would you think? Because I feel like some of these other studios wouldn't want their characters murdered off. So I feel like,
you know,
what
it's
would you feel about
interesting.
that? Like if they added it or not?
But I don't think they really need to do finishers. Like first of all, the Mortal Kombat, like for instance, what Mortal Kombat does in the fatalities is gory. It's over the top. It's what they're known for. I don't really see many finishers for. You know, I don't think they change the format of what Killer Instinct is. Killer Instinct is its own genre fighting game. It is, you know, it has the combos, the ultra combos, the ones where you get into the shadow realm where you're really like going to town. I don't think they need to. What they need to do is bring that to modern consoles, because if you look at it now, it still plays amazing and it looks absolutely astounding, even now without the major work that's going to go into it with the update, as well as what they're going to do to reboot the game. I think you can literally keep the game as we've always known it to be, with potentially a little bit more fighting added to it. Maybe destructible backgrounds like you get in Mortal Kombat. Maybe you know when you're using a character, they could grab something and use it as a weapon. I don't see fatalities or finishers. I don't think they need to do that. That's just my take. Me being a purist when it comes to Killer Instinct. Let Killer Instinct just be what it is, and be about the combos.
And you already have Mortal Kombat. You know what I'm saying? Like you want there to be kind of like that different feeling. Now, maybe what I would like for me personally, if you're gonna steal something, give me a story mode.
Yeah, actual like
real Mortal Kombat level story mode.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. I would like
that's what I want.
Now, Killer Instinct did have finishers, just to let y'all know now at a point. They did have like stage finishers and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, even in the first game. So that's why I mentioned that too. But we can all acknowledge that Mortal Kombat, clearly that's their lane. But
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But I would say too, somebody said Son of Rome, Rise Son of Rome.
Oh, dude, that's
Marius Titus. Yeah, bring him in. I'll be all for that. He would fit in
just give me part 2. God,
oh
man, they need to buy Crytek, bro. Just stop the bullshit. Buy Crytek. Now we
buy
own
the
it.
IP, do one of them.
That's it. No, you gotta have them make it. This is their baby.
I will tell you this.
Listen,
the CryEngine, even
I
to
think
this
Ninja
day,
Theory could make a hell of a Rise Son of Rome game, actually.
Yeah, but you know what? You don't need. The problem is Ninja Theory is too good of a studio to be putting on somebody else's IP. When you got a studio who can come up with their own stuff or make their own saga continue.
Yeah.
I kind of want them to just do that. But Crytek, people sleep on Crytek, which is crazy. And Crytek has operated in such a from a down state for so long, and they still put out like these graphically impressive games. And Rise Son of Rome was
actually owned Crytek.
Exactly. Let them free. You got the dope ass engine. Their engine is amazing. Their engine was doing software ray tracing before the consoles could even do it. But honestly, if they did, we would get them back. Fucking Rise Son of Rome 2, man. I need it.
I actually think I think they were hiring for it because they actually used the key art from Rise Son of Rome 1.
See, but they were talking about possibly being multi-platform game.
Microsoft would have to step in there and be like, no.
Nah, man, you got to cut that, because this is the thing. As much as it's not even about it. I don't want it going to other places. You don't get the same level.
You have no connection
quality
to it if you're on PlayStation.
Yeah,
you just don't.
Want that
absolutely
exclusive. Plus, I saw it in the chat, but Crysis is the OG.
Yeah,
I love Crysis 1, 2, 3.
That broke people's machines, dude. Like honestly,
yes, bro. Yes,
broke people's machines. But listen,
man,
I will say this, folks. This has been an amazing near 2-hour show. I have to catch up on some. There's been quite a few of them, and then we're gonna get everyone out of here. Nintendon the Otaku drops a very generous $5 super chat and says, "Why are we talking so much about Spider-Man 2 when the best game of October and the fall is Super Mario Wonder, which has been released with no bugs? Indeed, Mario Wonder is dope."
Makes me wonder why we even talking about it.
There you go. I love it. I love what you did there. I love that. Highlands 001 drops a very generous $5 super chat and says, afternoon booming panel. Sony is in trouble. Sony is selling off their financial service division, laying off people. Sony is a hurt company. Yeah, they're in a pickle. We don't know how far down the rabbit hole this goes, but every day that passes, we're learning more of more cuts to SIE. And like I said, I think that the most telling part, folks, and this is not to poke fun, is the fact that someone from Sony proper is now making the decisions of what happens at PlayStation. That is how you know they're in trouble, and they're in a bit of a tailspin. I would even say disarray. Splendiferous drops not one but two, actually three $2 super chats, and he says, "We play games on this side, man. I love this ecosystem." He says, "Another Halo has always been my first love, man. To me, iconic, absolutely." Yeah. Another one, he says, "I almost can't believe how the mighty have fallen indeed." Nintendon drops in a very generous additional $2 super chat and says, "Halo and Unreal garbage 5."
Blasphemous response.
Blasphemy, kind sir. He says, "Might as well scrap it." Oh my god.
See, that's why I said what I said about Super Mario, because I saw his super chat and I was like, oh, I gotta say something to you about this blasphemy you wrote here. And that's why I had to get him.
What I'm hoping for, folks, honestly, is I think that there is a world that can exist where Slipspace is dedicated to multiplayer, which it runs phenomenal. There's no need, there's no change necessary for Halo multiplayer. I would love to see what they can do because of how flexible Unreal Engine is to tell a very story-driven, graphical, intense Halo story. And I think that there is a world where we can see they can coexist at the same time. Leave Slipspace to multiplayer, leave Unreal Engine to single player. I think it could work, but then again, I'm not a designer, so maybe I'm just entirely wrong, but that's just my opinion on it. Gamer by Choice. What's up, brother? Welcome back. He drops a very generous $5 super chat and says, "I wonder now if Sony was the reason Jim Ryan went hard to stop the deal. A lot said it was Jim, but what if Sony was pushing the narrative?" You might be onto something there. There's definitely something to be had about that conversation. We also have Mo de la Garza, a very generous $5 super chat, and says, "We know that Spider-Man sold 2.5 million copies, but I would love to know how many copies got returned. I mean, I'd like even more detail. How many copies were bundles? How many copies were digital? How many copies were the mom and pop, physical copies? I'd like to know all of that. I don't know if we're ever going to get it though." Jacob Novik drops a very generous $10 super chat and says, "Hi y'all, Toad, Money, and Doodle that there's another rumor that Media Molecule will shut down. If so, I believe it was more today. Please know, as a big fan, I'm a huge fan of Little Big Planet. The launch game for the PS5 was dope. I absolutely loved every minute of it. It's unfortunate that happened. Shout out to Joe Dunmore. Joe, what's going on, brother? Welcome back." He drops a very generous $5 super chat and says, "If Xbox gets 2K and Game Pass day and date along with Call of Duty, yeah, that's a wrap, bro. That's straight up. That's a wrap if that happens."
That's a wrap. Oh boy,
and our good friend, the slanderous one himself, is here, folks. The one that put out the message to everyone that maybe Spider-Man should be rated M for mature after that, 69 situation that he put out there. The Black Viking is here. What's going on, brother? Welcome. He drops a very generous $10 super chat and says, "PSA, hit that like button and subscribe." Brother, that is very kind of you. Thank you so much for that.
Rated M for messy, not for mature.
Yeah, M for messy. Oh, I love that. That is great. And I think why it was funny was the lady's leg kept moving when it was like perfect. I don't understand. It wasn't right.
That somebody, there's somebody at Insomniac who's like, "Man, if the game ever glitches, I really want this to happen," and they just programmed it in there. It was on
the level of hot coffee from GTA way back in the days.
Yes.
I don't know if you know what I'm talking
Oh,
about.
yeah.
The
Hot
way
and
he
coffee
did it too, he
situation.
was like getting in, and then he was like, "All right, I need a breath."
Oh my god!
Back in, baby.
Yeah, I'm
Oh
back
my
in the
God.
game. Give me a
Yeah,
Bluetooth. I'm ready.
it's not right. Jacob Novik drops an additional $5 super chat and says, "Post Up mentioned something about including some more people in the comments on Jez Corden's quote of Jaffee's tweet before Connie was reported to have quit." I mean, that's what we're hearing. We don't know. I mean, we'll know in the coming days exactly how extensive this is. It's very unfortunate. Roshan Impenger drops a very generous $5 super chat and says Microsoft needs to buy all of their support studios 1,000% and hire those Halo contract workers. Then they should go for Sega. Yeah, I think Sega is going to be in the cards at one point or another. But listen, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for the incredible super chats. Thank you so much for the channel memberships that continue to come in. If you're finding the channel for the first time, please consider subscribing because we are on the hunt for 14K and we're almost there. And it would be pretty dope to hit that by the end of 2024. Let's get to the outros. We'll start first with Infinite Umbra. Yes, sir.
Before we do the outro really quick, since we have like basically 10 minutes, though we do want to make it fast and quick, right? That's what he said to her.
Wow. I'm clutching my pearls.
What he said to her.
Because she's not going to say that. It's only a thing we're going to say. So one of the topics we're going to be about, Hi-Fi Rush, Starfield, all those being Game of the Year. Seeing how we got this Wednesday show coming up, as far as the partner
showcase. Yes.
Now, I was going to say, with that being the case and these being there, because the question was, do we think any of these would be nominated, right, or be contender for Game of the Year? Was that your question you were going with?
Yes.
So just to quickly throw it out there, and maybe we can all throw out who we think could. I feel like Starfield will be a contender. I don't know if they'll win, but I think they'll be nominated. Hi-Fi Rush, I think, will get snubbed. And I say that only because it's been such a ridiculous year with releases that they might overlook it, even though it does deserve love. Maybe they can get it in just like, I don't know, platform. No, they couldn't put it in a platformer. I don't know. Yeah, it just feels like it's not going to get the love it should get, right? But yeah. Just to answer that question, I think Starfield will get nominated.
I hope so. I think it needs to be 100%. It absolutely needs to be. See money real quick. What do you think? They've had 4 Xbox first party games get nominated: Diablo 4, Hi-Fi Rush, what you see on your screen in Motorsport, as well as Starfield. What's your quick hot pick?
Starfield is going to go.
Mine as well. Yeah,
it's going to be nominated, and I think there's a good chance it's going to win. I feel like the haters will be silenced, is what I'm feeling. I feel like there's going to be people who come up and do it, because you look at, it's easy to get caught up with how many people went ahead and gave it a low score, right? But we also know that there's over 54 different outlets
they gave it a 9 or higher.
8 or 9 or higher.
Mm-hmm.
And almost half of those were 10. So I think that it can be something where, we come out with the win at the end. I think as time goes on and you move past, because we're still, before you have up until those deadlines. I don't know, what's the deadline this year for Game Awards?
I think it's November 15th or something like that.
Yeah, something like it's usually
it's
in
either the
middle
first or second week of November.
Yeah.
So there's been enough time for that game to sit and kind of resonate. And the fact that you still to this day have people posting about the game, talking about the game, I think we might, there's a chance. Listen, if it doesn't happen, regardless, I feel like it should win. Out of all the games released this year, it is the best game that release in a whole, for everything that it offers, for what it did. I literally just finished the Crimson Fleet storyline.
Wow, that's a good one.
Okay. And that was the only storyline I've done. Okay. So literally 2, maybe 3 hours into the game, I started that storyline, and I'm 57 hours in. So I did 53 hours of just the Crimson Fleet storyline, and it was amazing.
It was amazing. Yeah, absolutely. Especially with those
amazing.
no spoilers, but it gets survival horror-esque, if you will.
Crazy at the end.
Yeah.
It's worth it.
Yeah, 100%.
It's crazy. That whole I did a side quest that took me longer than if I went and platinum Spider-Man 2 twice.
Wow.
Let's just be clear.
That's saying something. I mean, listen, you're not wrong.
I put enough hours into Starfield to cover Spider-Man about 8 times over. So
yeah. That's wild.
But for us to sign out, I know, Boom. I don't want to drag it.
Yeah, no, it's fine. Well, I know. First of all, I know that you're dragging because obviously you worked last night. People don't know he works at night, so he's here and he's exhausted. But listen, let's sell your brand, Infinite, because obviously, Danny wasn't here today. We'll get him back here hopefully next week. But obviously, this Thursday, you have the fix as you do with Danny each and every week. You've gotten some really, really big, powerful numbers there because people are enjoying the content. And we want to get more people to subscribe. So where can people do that? Where can people reach out to you on social media? But more importantly, check you guys out each and every Thursday evening.
Yeah, definitely. You guys can come to my channel under Infinite Umbra. And I'm actually posting that into the chat now. So there's the link. If you all have not subscribed to us, definitely do a brother a favor and do so now. Would appreciate it to see you guys come through. I know some of you all do now, and I want to thank you for supporting us. Great community, all love to you. I am tired, so you probably hear me sounding like this. Also, too, that's this Unreal Engine hate has drained me of energy. I think Nintendo led the revolution of hate today for Unreal Engine. I just don't know.
It's like
why.
your kryptonite, sir. Basically,
it made me weak reading all these replies. I wanted to be like, oh boy, like he's like, leave Brittany alone. I'll leave Unreal Engine alone. I don't know. You all just took my energy away. It's not in a good way. Look, see, Jason B threw it under the trash. See what I'm talking about? Anyway. Listen, you guys, if you have not done so, please subscribe to a brother. Come through to support us if you can on Thursdays at 8 o'clock Eastern. Of course, also on Fridays, I'm on the Xbox Infinite podcast with myself, Risky for the Biscuit, Jedi Knight Peter, and that blue number, Holly, who is our newest member. So come by and support us there too at 8 o'clock on Eastern on a Friday. And we're going to have a lot of good stuff to talk about this week as well. Me and Danny, not sure what's up with him today, but hope all is well. And,
it's unusual for him not to like, hey, listen, I can't be there because of X, Y, and Z. So I'll reach out to him privately and make sure he's okay.
Yep, definitely.
It definitely is unusual for Danny. He's usually the first one here, even before me, believe it or not.
Yep, true. So all love to him. But man, it's been a good talk with you guys, though. Even regardless of that, it's been a good talk today. So it flew by still, actually much faster than I thought it would. Actually,
yeah, it really did.
Yeah, again, this is how much. That's how you know you're having fun. And a big shout out to the near 700 people we had here, which allowed for us to entertain you. Hopefully, you had fun. Hopefully, you are subscribed. And if not, please consider subscribing. But C Money, let's talk about you and your podcast because again, it is a gaming podcast, but it's not just a gaming podcast. It is an unusual and one that you should check out because not only does he, have start the week with the misses and they have their Monday morning show, but he has one in the after, during the week, not only with the misses, but he also brings in the other parts of his family. It's a very unusual, very fun, very animated type of event. And I think you should definitely help him get to now the hunt to 12K. That's next goal for C Money and family. Please sell the brand, brother. Talk about it. Where can people subscribe? And more importantly, reach out to you on social media.
Absolutely. Well, first of all, Boom, thank you so much again for having me here. Umbra, always a pleasure to podcast with you, my man. Thank you so much.
Same, brother.
Yeah, man. On Twitter, you guys can find me over at C Money Forever. It's right on the screen, right underneath my face. So you can go ahead and use that. As far as our channel is concerned, yes, we have a channel called On Point for Gamers. It's a channel that we run. We do 4 shows a week. As Boom mentioned, Monday morning starts with Morning Quest at 9 a.m. Eastern time. We have a real fun show there. A lot of you guys actually do come to the show, so we appreciate you. The more the merrier. We have a really fun time there. Start the week off right with gaming, as we should. And then today is Tuesday. Today's our big guest show. We have a show called Her, Him, and a Guest. And today we have a double header. So we have 2 interviews today. Last week we had 2. We had Jay Fonzarelli and Karim Jovian. Awesome interviews. Today at 3 p.m. Eastern time, so in an hour from right now, we will be sitting down with Jez Corden from Windows Central and Xbox 2 podcast. It's gonna be dope.
Nice. That's big, dude.
You won't
Huge.
want to miss it. Yeah, so definitely come through for that. It's gonna be a good time. And then tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern time, we got our man Ains Bowden from Season Gaming and the Bitcast
Love
podcast.
Ains.
Yes, super dope dude. Dope dude. So we're having a very fun night today, or night today. Dang, night tonight, day to day, all day is gonna be fun. So definitely come through. And then Thursday, this is a big one this week, is our last podcast of the month. And we have started something new this month. We're having On Point's end of October gaming block party. We're going to have 5 guests joining us. We normally just do the podcast with me, my wife, me, Doodle, and my son, Madman. But we have this week, we have King David coming by, who's going to be part of the show. We have Mav from Fun Speculation that'll be on the show. We have Retri coming down. We have Web Dave, and we have the man Gaming Forte, who's going to be joining us on the show. And then
great panel.
We're supposed to get a pop in from our homie Boom at some point, if it's possible.
Yes,
so
I give it to you. College effort, brother. I promise.
Yeah, no worries. But it's gonna be a fun show. So definitely be there for Thursday. That's gonna be at 4 p.m. Eastern time. So definitely hit us up there. And then Friday we'll be back at 6 p.m. Eastern with On Point Anime and Beyond, where we talk anime, TV movies, anything pop culture. It's a fun time. So lately, because of the spooky season, we've been having a lot of scary Halloween talk. They try to get me because I'm not a super fan of the scary stuff, but
me either.
Either way, it's a good time.
I love it. Mrs. Boom loves it. She's an Exorcist girl. She
oh my god,
love Exorcist.
Loves it,
man.
I don't know how you could say love and Exorcist.
Dude, we were dating. I had gone over for dinner before we had. I was living together, and we were watching The Exorcist, and I like that. Listen, that makes me uncomfortable, right? Even though I like horror, and I'm getting ready to go, and I'm like, "You still gonna watch it?" She goes, "Oh yeah." So when I get home, you hear it in the background. I'm like, "How do you watch that by yourself? That's just crazy."
Yeah,
she's a horror girl. She loves horror.
I saw The Exorcist when I was younger, and that was the last time I needed to see it. I was like,
exactly.
Nope.
You're not wrong.
Exactly.
It's scary film. But
yeah,
listen,
it's not necessary.
She says not necessary. I love it. Look, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning in, hanging out with us for 2 hours. Hopefully, you did the right thing, and you not only subscribe to me, but you subscribe to Infinite Umbra and C Money. They do great shows. They're community positive people, folks. That's who you got to support. You can't support the naysayers and the haters, because that's what they do. They sell hate. They hate monger. Don't support that kind of content. Support the people out here that come to have fun, that involve you in the conversation. We don't do the finger pointing here. We don't throw anybody under the bus. Even the trolls, we just get rid of them. But listen, thank you so much again for being here, checking out the show. Again, we do this 5 days a week, Monday to Friday, all different shows, all different panels, all great content. And we're never going to sell you hate or hate monger to get your like, your sub, for the channel. And of course, big thank you to all the super chats that have come in. And of course, I'm going to close out the show with something that's incredibly important to me, folks. Hopefully one day it will be important to you. And that's something that my dad taught us when we were kids. And he would say, Craig, treat others how you want to be treated. And also, it doesn't cost anything to be nice. You live by those rules, son. I can guarantee you you're going to have an awesome day. So take care, everyone, and we'll see you next week on the newest episode of the Xbox Factor Podcast.